my body and my brain and my life, and you can understand me better than I understand myself. You can know my personality type, my political views, my sexual preferences, my mental weaknesses, my deepest fears and hopes. You know more about me than I know about myself. And you can do that not just to me, but to everyone. A system that understands us better than we understand ourselves can predict our feelings and decisions, can manipulate our feelings and decisions, and can ultimately make decisions for us.
For the earth, remove your smile. Throw some the can. And the world is turning gray with a middleman. Should I really be surprised just how far we've fallen? A dream we never wanted come from the sound of destruction.
Police, hiding, endless, riots, human, babies, safer, pride, stronger, meds, bigger, feds, mask up, bitch, cool, side, mom says.
Let's get used to this. We can't care about it all. No teams meant the sky falls to the ground. Let's get this over with. No hearts events already. Mental woman, what's wrong? Can't you get along? Then the rapist in jail swears that he is one. Not really a problem until it shows on your doorstep. Now open up, let's get used to this. We can't care about it all. No teams meant the sky falls to the ground. Let's get this over with. No hearts events already. The color is fun to tell Simon. What can truth we have to the public? What can truth it is to notice? This is over with. You can feel bad about it later. Upload it, just get upload it.
Welcome to Disaffected. I'm Joshua Slocum, and it's October 5th, 2025. This is the show where we talk about politics, culture, and relationships through a psychological lens. Later tonight, we're going to be joined by my old online friend Jade, a black woman and Trump supporter who went conservative at about the same time that I did. We were friends on Facebook years ago, back when I started to turn to the right and the rad femmes rampaged. Jade and I are going to talk about modern black ghetto culture, criminality, and she's brought some examples of that, as well as some information about black commentators who are actually commenting on this themselves. Not all black people want to be represented by the hood, or as Jade calls them, hood rats. But first, let's talk about mayoral politics in New York City. You probably know that a smarmy socialist named Zoran Mamdani from Guyana is likely to win the Gotham mayor's mansion. And he's an avowed socialist. I mean, he's quite proud of it. His platform includes the following: government-run grocery stores to undercut private businesses, free public transportation, buses, trains, subways for everyone, millions of dollars for child sex changes, including flying kids and other people in from other states to New York to get their sex changes, tighter rent control, which he calls running to freeze the rent, and stopping the alleged genocide in Gaza, which of course is not happening. Naturally, liberal women, leftist women, are moistening their drawers over this guy. He's a favorite with the Harpies on that morning show called The View, and now he's making a pitch to every single 38-year-old alcoholic single woman, so basically to 75% of the New York City population. He ran the following ad in the style of that reality show called The Bachelor. I guess this one got, I'm trying not to say it because it makes me sick, but I'll say it. It's called The Golden Bachelor. Ugh. He made the ad in that style and ran the ad during the show's airtime. So let's roll that, please, Kevin.
You deserve better. You deserve to be able to raise your family here, to be safe, to travel where you need to, free of costs and worry. You deserve someone who works as hard as you do, who thinks about you every second of the day. That's the kind of mayor I promise to be. New York, will you accept this rose?
Paid for by Zoran for NYC.
Babylon Bee editor Joel Berry said it best when he tweeted, "This is the last thing New York City sees before getting date raped." You know what? I would rather cleanse my own backside with lie and wear sandpaper briefs for the rest of my life than hear one more word from this oleaginous popinjay. But he's going to be back. All right, let's turn to a real man, Pete Hegseth. Now dubbed, is not Secretary of Defense. I absolutely love this. He's now Secretary of War. It's the War Department again. I love what Trump is doing. Oh, it makes him so angry. Secretary of War. Pete Hegseth this past week had an all-hands meeting at the Pentagon, brought the generals in, back from wherever they were in the world, and he talked about returning to the recent and former ordinary standards of decorum, dress, deportment, physical fitness, and grooming. For years now, we watch soldiers in all branches of the U.S. military post themselves doing drag routines in uniform, twirling and twerking, talking about their sex changes, and breaking down crying on camera in uniform about transphobia in the goddamn military. Just a few years ago, maybe 10 to 15, all of that behavior, every single instance of that behavior would be an immediate and correct dishonorable discharge and possibly a court-martial. But today, you can get away with it if you're a special minority, and if you black. So you can get away with stuff like this.
I waited for 3.5 years. White man did it in 1 week.
That says when the army changes, but we don't give a fuck because we don't do shit anyway.
3.5 years. The white man did it.
Yo. Trash. No more of that. So here, Pete Hegseth had several things to say this week about standards, fitness, and nonsense claims about Army policies harming women. Let's roll the first one, please.
This also means grooming standards. No more beards, long hair, superficial individual expression. We're going to cut our hair, shave our beards, and adhere to standards. Because it's like the broken windows theory of policing. It's like when you let the small stuff go, the big stuff eventually goes. So you have to address the small stuff. This is on duty, in the field, and in the rear. If you want a beard, you can join special forces.
He said in the rear.
If not, then shave. We don't have a military full of Nordic pagans. But unfortunately, we have had leaders who either refuse to call BS and enforce standards, or leaders who felt like they were not allowed to enforce standards. Both are unacceptable. And that's why today, at my direction, the era of unprofessional appearance is over. No more beardos. The era of rampant and ridiculous shaving profiles is done. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession.
Ouch. Let's roll the next one, please.
This, and I want to be very clear about this, this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on killing you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force, you must trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable, truly physically capable of doing what is necessary under fire. You know this is the only standard you would want for your kids and for your grandkids. Apply the War Department Golden Rule, the 1990 test, and the E6 test, and it's really hard to go wrong.
It is incredible that he has to say this. This is the grown-up military equivalent, literally, of remedial grammar and sentence structure classes that have to be given to college students these days. It's incredible that he had to actually call a meeting and say that. Glad he did. He did need to do it. But we're not breaking new ground. We're clawing back normal. I mean, it's just absolutely nuts. And there's something in there to piss off everybody. You pussy soy boys, you're not going to make it either. And you resentful dykes. Do I look cute in my army uniform women? You don't get to play that game anymore. You don't. You never should have been allowed to play that game. It was a flash in the pan, and it's over now. One more from Pete about getting rid of social justice bullshit in the armed forces.
Administration has done a great deal from day one to remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department, to rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
Hallelujah. How long have you been waiting to hear that? I've been waiting for a long, long time. He said gender delusions. No more of this shit. No more dudes in dresses. We're not even calling them trans women anymore. Oh, God, I love this. You ready for more real masculinity? I am. Cash me outside. Let's go to Portland. Portland police, City of Portland police, have been allowing Antifa radicals to physically assault federal immigration cops and to assault people on the street outside the ICE facility, Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Portland. The ICE officers aren't allowed. There are jurisdictional problems here. They're not allowed to take action against any of these criminals who are assaulting people on the street because the people of Portland are within the jurisdiction of the local police, not within Immigration and Customs Enforcement, unless ICE officers are being assaulted. So they're talking about how they have to sit there in their heavily barricaded building and watch these Antifa fucks screw people up, hit them on the street. They can't do anything. Not only that, but the Portland police aren't protecting their citizens from Antifa either, but they won't protect the ICE officers when they're assaulted either. It is amazing. The Post-Millennial, the conservative publication, Post-Millennial, has an on-the-ground reporter named Katie Daviscourt. She was punched by a female Antifa member the other day while reporting, and the police will not arrest her assailant. Take a look at her on the screen. You see her bruised face. She writes, "I shouldn't have to post my injury, but since one of the main Antifa agitators involved in the Portland ICE occupation is defaming me, here's a look at my black eye given to me by one of her terrorist comrades. I also really hate attention and don't do well with being a victim, but the truth has to be told. I have a concussion and an eye hemorrhage." Here's what Katie's colleague at the Post-Millennial, Andy No, had to say. Quote, "Samantha Fakhrizadeh, a communist social media influencer, is defaming Katie Daviscourt by saying she faked her injuries after getting bashed in the eye socket with a pole by an at-large Antifa militant currently wanted by police." Next quote. Fakhrizadeh, a member of the National Lawyers Guild Antifa group, says that the bruising from the Fox News interview 24 hours after the assault is larger and darker than the marks shown minutes after she was first injured. That's how bruising develops. She also defends the Portland police for their mishandling of the assault and says that because the assailant might have been a, quote, minor, this is unconfirmed, she should be able to assault and commit crimes freely. Well, we've got it in her own words. Here's Samantha Fakharzadeh on Instagram.
Can someone please explain to me how this turned into this after several days of healing? Let's go through that again. How did this turn into this after multiple days? How does that work? I don't see swelling here. I don't see any impact over here. Let's compare it to the other eye. Is there much of a difference between the swelling of these two? You see it? Because I fucking don't. And you're supposed to be a fucking journalist? Shame on you. Shame on you for fucking lying. Shame on you for perpetuating a false narrative. Shame on you for having armed MAGA chase down a minor and multiple unarmed people down the fucking street. Shame on you for coming to a city you don't even live in a state that you don't even live in. And this is going to be crazy for me to say this, but shame on you for admonishing the police of that city just because they didn't believe your bullshit story. I am so fucking tired of seeing you chase people around, get way too fucking close to them, and then act shocked when you run into shit. I'm sick of it. And the rest of the world that has 2 fucking brain cells is sick of it too. If you were a journalist of any substance or quality, you wouldn't need to make up stories just to make money. You could have done anything else. Instead, you lied about the city of Portland. You lied about the peaceful protesters outside of the ICE facility, causing the president that is on his deathbed, both physically and mentally, to believe that there is a lot more going on in Portland than there actually is. Fuck you, Katie.
Armed MAGA chasing down a minor. A minor. We don't know that that girl was a minor. But even if she was a minor, that doesn't mean that she can beat the hell out of somebody she doesn't like with a flagpole. This woman, Samantha, is talking about the woman who punched. Do you notice the reversal? Of course you do. The assailant becomes the victim. And she's doing her best to make this violent young woman seem like a little girl by calling her a minor. Samantha's now sympathetic to President Biden, who's literally on his deathbed. Shame on Samantha. Fuck you. You're a psychopath, and you do actually want people like Katie dead. You want her dead. Everyone knows it, Samantha. Let's contrast this with Memphis, Tennessee. Here's Trump advisor Stephen Miller, who's been burning it up this week with righteous masculine anger and rule enforcement. Roll it, please.
To the Memphis Police Department, to the officers that I see sitting in front of me, we are about to provide you with a level of support you cannot even imagine. This isn't just a task force. This is a all-of-government unlimited support operation. ATF, DEA, FBI, ICE, Department of War, every resource we have. And they're not going to be sitting behind a desk at a keyboard. We are sending in real cops with guns and badges to go out with you on the street every single night making arrests. These are people who have taken down drug cartels, kingpins, the worst criminal offenders in the United States, standing with you shoulder to shoulder to shoulder. All we ask from you is to show up at roll call every single night with your brothers and sisters in the federal government and to go out and get the criminals off the street. And if you do that, I pledge to you, we will liberate this city from the criminal element that has plagued it for generations. This is not just a strategy shift. This is an attitude shift. We are not going to live in an environment anywhere where there is a street that belongs to a criminal, where there is a neighborhood that belongs to a gang, where there is any physical space anywhere that belongs to anyone other than the law-abiding citizens and families of Memphis. The idea that there is a square inch of block in this city where a citizen doesn't feel safe is unacceptable. This is Memphis. This is the United States of America, and all that bullshit is done. It's over. It's finished.
Love it. All that bullshit is done. Let's keep it rolling with more masculine rejection of bullshit. Senator Josh Hawley called on Gregory Jackson Jr. in a hearing. Gregory Jackson Jr. was deputy director of the Biden administration's now defunct Office of Gun Violence Prevention. Trump shut that down on his first day in office. Senator Hawley is reading from a report that Deputy Director Gregory Jackson, you'll see him on screen, Gregory Jackson himself wrote. Now, Jackson pretends that he didn't write the report. He can't answer what any of the gender gobbledygook that he wrote actually means. And to get himself out of it, he tries a reversal. Wait until the end of this video where he literally just turns around what he himself did and accuses Josh Hawley of doing it.
Approaches defunding the police, which is what this says the entire time. This is so typical of what the Democrats do now. After your policies have transparently failed and led to the deaths of millions of Americans, now you say you've never heard of defunding the police. Your own report recommends it on page after page after page. Let me ask about something else you say. Here's what you say we ought to invest in. Instead of funding the police, here's what we ought to invest in. We need to invest in programs that acknowledge the need for safe space initiatives led by lesbian, gay, bisexual, two-spirit, trans, and gender nonconforming people. What's two-spirit?
Well, look, I don't know exactly. You guys are pulling some interesting quotes.
This is from your report.
If you look at the report, the focus is on investing in violence intervention, outreach workers.
What is you say that you shouldn't invest in the police, but we ought to invest in two-spirit community programs that acknowledge two-spirit individuals.
We are not going to discriminate
what is that?
We're not going to discriminate against any nonprofit that
what
wants
is
to
a
help us prevent violence in
What
our
is
community.
two-spirit? You say don't fund the police, but do fund programs that create safe spaces for two-spirit people. What is? I just want to know. I don't know what that is. I have no idea what that is.
Well, I honestly, I'm not completely aware of the language or the
wrote
spirit
the
of how that was
report?
written. But what I'm telling you is that what is
a two-spirit individual? I mean, really, this is your policymaker's playbook. You are the witness called by the Democrats on this committee, so I assume you reflect their views. Well, you don't want to fund the police. You want to fund safe spaces for two-spirit individuals. What is a two-spirit person?
I feel like I'm looking at a two-faced individual because you talk about reducing
violence. Oh, no, sir.
Violence.
You're looking at somebody who's reading you your own words, and I'd like to hear an answer.
Programs.
Here's the answer. The answer is you don't have any solutions. You want to invest in gobbledygook and take away money from police officers who actually keep our communities safe, and when you're called on the record, you deny it.
I've got to stop saying the word unbelievable. Up until very recently, any witness, regardless of whether they were an adversarial witness, anyone in Congress would have been terrified to speak that way. I mean, I feel like I'm looking at a two-faced. And let me say something about that too. You know what, black men, you want people to take you seriously? Start enunciating the fucking English language, okay? Start pronouncing words in English, not in ghetto. I feel like. The word is feel, F-E-E-L, not F-I-L-L. You don't feel like things. You don't have fillings. I am so tired of trashy black patois taking over everything. You never used to hear this. You guys, you know this. You didn't hear this except in the ghetto. You did not see normal professional black people in senatorial hearings saying, well, I feel like. You're not a rapper. Well, he probably is. All right, moving along. What's wrong with modern statuary? I feel like Emily Latella from the old Saturday Night Live. There's a modern trend, of course, of elevating mediocrity in intellectual pursuits, artistic pursuits, political pursuits, even sports pursuits. Anyone who's black, gay, queer, a woman, anything but a straight white male gets their artistic work fluffed and featured as if it were on the level of Caravaggio or Bernini. Let me give you some examples. Well, actually, this Twitter follower put it best. ID Drew said, I find it shocking how low-quality modern statuary has become. It's a giant warning signal as to the state of things. And he's right. It is a warning signal. These are not small things. These are canary and coal mine indicators Right here on your screen, you're looking at allegedly a statue of Tina Turner put up in her hometown near Nutbush. We're gonna, let's go in there. Let's go to the next tweet, Kevin. Ollie London's tweet, so they can see her face. Ollie London writes, new statue of Tina Turner gets blasted by fans for looking nothing like the singer. Statue was unveiled in Brownsville, Tennessee, where the singer grew up, with some fans branding it a, quote, tragedy for looking nothing like her. Well, look at it. That's not Tina Turner. That's Trisomy Tina. It looks like they gave her an extra chromosome. Who is the sculptor? Fred Ahanoga. Let's look at Fred Ahanoga's art webpage. So he says in his biography, Fred Ahanoga, also known as Ahano, is a well-accomplished sculptor. He was born in 1958 to the late Sunday and Rebecca Ahanoga, and is the oldest of 9 children. He's discovered early on that he had a natural talent for art, and he wanted to pursue a career as a professional sculptor. To broaden his scope, he attended the Creative Art Academy, which is located in Benin City in Nigeria. Okay, forget it. Here's some of Ahano's other work. We've got, of course, Harriet Tubman. That's not bad, actually. That's a pretty good statue. I mean, I can't tell whether the face actually resembles photographs of her because I don't have a clear image in my head. But that statue looked nothing like Tina Turner. But of course, I mean, yes, it's a statue of Harriet Tubman. But of course, he's doing American slave statuary because that's the only thing that Black people can get famous doing. Or we can look at one of his others, which appears to be a more than life-size fertility idol of a pregnant woman. Don't know the title. I would call it Ooga Booga. Do you remember when we talked a few months ago about the statues of bored and sullen Black women that are showing up in cities around the Western world? I think we've got a melange of them here for you. We've got the girl holding out her cell phone like a platter, looking annoyed in a courtyard outside of a museum in Italy. Then we've got one in London. We've got one in New York City and one other European city. So the artist behind the one in Times Square, and the one in Times Square on your screen is the one all the way at the 4 o'clock position, lower right, that, sort of fat Black woman standing there, with her hand on her hip. The artist behind this one is named Thomas J. Price. He calls that statue, by the way, grounded in the stars. Let's go to Price's webpage. He's very proud to display his work next to actual classical sculpture. Here's a close-up of the cell phone girl. Next to, if I'm not mistaken, that might actually be Bernini. So artist Thomas J. Price, by the way, as I was getting ready for this show, he has protected all of the images and text on his website, meaning you can't right-click and save a picture. You can't select and copy-paste text. Don't try to steal from a Black man. Here's a picture of Thomas J. Price. Do we have that, Kevin? Yep, there he is. Just, normal-looking dude. Let's read from his site. Thomas J. Price's multidisciplinary practice confronts preconceived attitudes toward representation and identity, foregrounding the intrinsic value of the individual and subverting structures of hierarchy. I'm not going to go any further. I don't need to read any more of that gobbledygook to you. Let's move on to the next one, which is allegedly a statue of Lucille Ball. It's on your screen. This was put up more than 10 years ago in Lucille Ball's hometown in Celeron, New York, which is near Jamestown. Take a look at that. Who is that? Come get your medicine. It's called vitamin of Benjamin, and it's so tasty too, just like candy. That actually is a statue of Brucille Law. Now, let's see who made it. His name was Dave Poulin, and I guess he died at 59 years old in 2020. And if he made it upstairs, you know that Bernini is walking him on a leash toward his eternity job of making chalk sidewalk signs directing deceased retards to the Pearly Pines care home. Here's Dave Poulin. Rest in peace, Dave. Okay. We're coming up on a break here, but I want to remind you that the second part of my long-awaited conversation with my sister, Jessie Steele, is out this week on all platforms, and I'd really love you to check it out. It's on YouTube, it's on Rumble, it's on your podcast player. It's called The Daughter's Tale Part 2, and it was published on October 1st, 2025. Check it out. Jessie tells the story of our childhood. You've heard it from my eyes, but this is what happened with her, both when we were together in the home with my mother and my brother, but also after I was sent to a boys' home, and then things started to pick up for her. So definitely check that out. And when we come back from the break here, we're going to be joined by my old friend Jade, a based as hell black woman who has gone right just like I did, and reminisce a little bit about our Rad Femme days on Facebook. So stick around.
What is a two-spirit person? I feel like I'm looking at a two-faced individual because you talk about... Oh, no, sir. You're looking at somebody who's reading you your own words.
Is this going to be the week that you show the love for the show that gives you something you don't get anywhere else? I certainly hope so. We would love to have your financial support to make this show. 2 easy ways to do it, and it doesn't cost very much at all. Less than the cost of lunch at Starbucks. You're not eating lunch at Starbucks, are you? Go to disaffectedpod.substack.com and become a paying subscriber, or go over to subscribestar.com/disaffected. When you sign up as a supporting member, you're going to get an invite to our private members-only chat Discord, and we would love to see you there. All kinds of stuff, including Cluster B, gets talked about there. And if you want a one-on-one, if you would like somebody to talk to who understands fractious family members, colleagues, Karen at church, you can talk to me. I offer 1-hour coaching and consulting sessions at joshuaslocum.net. I've got appointments up on my calendar, and if you don't find one that fits you, shoot me an email through the website. I regularly schedule off hours to accommodate people. And if I can be helpful to you, I'd like to. So go to joshuaslocum.net. And if you are a supporting member of Disaffected, you get a nice discount there too. Come back on the other side. Why do people say that? Why do they say we talked offline? We just talked on the phone like normal fucking people. And she had a change of heart too. Jade is a black woman, and I know that she did some work on the Trump campaign. She did some work speaking at political podiums next to figures like Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake. And let's bring her in. Let's tell a little bit of backstory and talk about where we got. And what we're going to focus on here is the absolute... the absolute racism of contemporary black culture. And as a black woman, Jade has some interesting things to say about that. Jade, welcome to Disaffected.
Hi, Josh. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for asking. It's great to be here with you.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here too, despite our technical troubles that the audience is not going to see.
Yes.
You and I knew each other online, and we were both leftists, liberals. I have sort of a sense that I might have been a little harder core than you, but what was it? Take us back to the time when you and I were both active on Facebook and part of the whole thing. What do you remember from that time?
I remember us trauma bonding about our cluster B mothers. And I remember, both of us kind of just ranting and raving about why does she do this? Why does she do that? And I feel this and I feel that. And just engaging in the whole swamp of the radical feminist movement, which I feel are just, a lot of women with unresolved trauma is really what it is. And just like they attacked you, they attacked me as well.
Yeah. I don't have I said this to you the other night. You said, do you remember the conversation about this or this? And I had to be honest with you and say, no, I don't, because I was an active alcoholic and I was drunk almost every night and I forgot a lot of things that went on. But do you remember the time when things started to shift and turn, when people who were friends with me, friends with you, all of a sudden started getting real shirty with us?
Yeah, I remember getting messages that I should not speak to you because you hate women, like literally. And I was like, that doesn't sound like the guy that I've been speaking to for the past few months. So, and I also was skeptical of them too, because, that was a time when I was in my 30s and I thought I was hot to trot. And, I did some modeling pictures, nothing too risque, but, just like, cute little shots with makeup and high heels. And then that's when they told me that I was an agent of the patriarchy and that all heterosexual sex is rape, and that I was supporting the misogynistic makeup industry, and that, the only way to be a true feminist is to be a lesbian, like really hardcore, crazy stuff that I just wasn't going to engage in. So the same women that attacked you for stating the obvious, that women can be perpetrators of abuse, which I wholeheartedly agree with because I've seen it, were the same women who attacked me for being heterosexual and wanting to appeal to the opposite sex like a normal straight woman would want to.
Right. How dare you say normal straight woman? That's bigotry.
I said it. I don't take it back either. I said it. I'm a pick-me. I'm a pick-me. So
yeah, you're a pick-me, or what is the other one that the radical feminists say? They call women like you what like dick carriers or penis carriers, or like they act like, like you're walking around. You see that they've turned it into a meme, but I think it's an old, like, ancient Japanese drawing with this guy who has a dick that's literally a block long, and there's all these women, holding that dick and carrying it real hard down the street.
Sounds like my dream, man. No, I mean, I'm going to tell y'all feminists this. I love my man. I need my man. He's improved my life. We're going to get married. I'm going to wear a white dress and I'm going to be the girliest girl on the planet. So take that.
They're never going to take you back. Now, my change of mind politically from the left to the right had everything to do with my finally recognizing the pathological nature of my mother and my relationship with my mother. It coincided with me learning what cluster B personality disorders were, narcissistic behavior, unstable borderline personality behavior. I know that you had an abusive cluster B mother too. Did your change of mind, Jade, politically, was that informed in your life by recognizing that, or did it come differently for you?
It's connected for sure, because my politics changed after I went to therapy, and I did our family systems, and I did the therapy that really helped me to be accountable for doing in my life. I too, even before I reconnected with you, was seeing the correlations and similarities between what was going on in my household with the gaslighting and the catastrophizing and the you can't do anything right, and constantly having to have chaos and motion that the Democratic Party does. I also was confused because I was like, okay, if there's so much racial oppression, why do both of my parents make six figures? Why did I go to Paris for my 18th birthday? If there's so much oppression, why am I living in a nicer situation than a lot of my white friends in the same neighborhood? Like, it just didn't seem to make sense to me. So analyzing my past, my family history, and also too, just getting completely attacked by people when I said I wasn't going to, take the experimental injection, that I was not going to, not ask questions. I wanted to know, hey, why is it that if the Democrats say one thing, it's okay, but if the Republicans say the same thing, they're like the Antichrist? Like, I started asking questions to people who I thought were my friends, and they went on the attack. I've been called everything in the book, Uncle Tom, coon, Nazi, white supremacist. And these are people who were supposed to be my friends. And I'm like, why am I being bullied in the same way that my mother bullied me when I, wouldn't submit to her or didn't agree with her? It just all was the same narrative. And there had to be a correlation. And there is. And that's when I found you again. And I'd been watching you frequently and going, yes, that's it. That's it. That's exactly what I'm feeling and what I'm going through. And I would also see the similar gaslighting in the Black community away from my home, but with Black peers as well. So it's all connected.
Well, and we talked about this during our phone conversation the other night, the fact that we're going to talk about bad Black behavior because you've brought us some videos. We're gonna watch 2 or 3 clips coming up that illustrate the point. But I remember saying to you that I think this is the same in Blacks, women, feminist groups, particularly gays and trans, Hispanics, anybody who is described as an oppressed minority or a protected class today. The problem with them is cluster B. It's all narcissism. It's communal narcissism. It's creating yourself a victim. The flavors are different, right? Like some people say it in a Black accent, some people say it in a gay accent, but the behaviors are the same and the psychology is the same. And I look out, and I'm going to tell you what I think. You tell me what you see, because you see it from, the perspective of being a Black person. I look out at this and I'm like, you know what the problem with Black culture today is? Black culture today is cluster B. It's just cluster B. It's just narcissism. What do you say to that?
Yep. I agree, because all of the behaviors that are elevated in the Black community are pathological and maladaptive. I mean, I remember being in high school and junior high school and being in advanced placement classes and being told that I was acting like a white girl. Speaking English properly is speaking like a white person. I remember when I hit my mid-30s and being a single woman, saying, I guess I just won't have kids because I didn't want to be a baby mama. And people saying, you think you're a white woman? Why do you have those standards? And I wish I was lying to you about these things, because people will say, oh, nobody said that, but they really did. Like, how dare I have any standards that's white adjacent? And I said, I guess I'll be that, because look at the state of their community versus ours. Like, so what? I mean, I just wasn't going to do those things out of order. And I'm grateful that I didn't.
Right. Well, let's bring in some of those videos. Kevin, let's cue up the first one in the list. Take a look, and then we'll come back and hear what Jay has to say about it.
Hey, it's Leo. Sexy, so long, Black American princess. I'm probably posted in the crib lighting incense. Lit bitch, I could get you touched in an instance. If you ain't Black, stay the fuck out the business. Bow. All the 9 Blacks to the back. All the 9 Blacks to the back. Hold on, damn. All the 9 Blacks to the back. All the 9 Blacks to the back. Nigga, blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. You know they say the bigger the bush, the deeper the roots. I'm knowing it's a bitch like me that's being produced, but you can't. I'll do the doer, I'm doing the do. Puss, I ain't beefing with bitches, they need to get in the booth. They steady singing my name, I need to give them some tune. They throwing salt on the player cause they can't get in the room. Okay, I'm sweeping these bitches, they wanna spit on the broom. All the cute Black girls streaming my shit. Ego so big, niggas feeding my shit. I need my reparations, bitch, you gotta bring me my shit. These bitches my kids, I've been dreaming about fish. Black bitch, but the purse Murakami me. These Black ass roots go beyond me.
Okay. Who is that?
That's the typical hood rat that used to make fun of me and bully me in high school.
I mean, is this obviously, but what I'm asking is this a known person? Is she a celebrity of some sort? Is this a known rapper? Like, who is this?
I don't know. Honestly, I found her on a Black conservative channel. I've never heard of her. I don't listen to that type of music, and I never have. I think from what I gather from the little research I've done, she's an up-and-coming hip-hop artist. And the reason why people have brought her up is some of her lyrics are very racist. She says, all white people in the back, all the non-Blacks in the back. And she says it repeatedly. And quite frankly, just disgusting. And it's condoning racist behavior. And like you said, these are the behaviors in the Black community that are elevated. If she was doing the opposite by, studying, having a noble career, dressing modestly, not using vulgar language. If she was, married to her kid's dad and doing all the right things in life, she would be ostracized. But that's what's elevated. You're not seeing any Aretha Franklins and Billie Holidays being elevated today, and that's by design.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know if you caught this episode, but probably at least 6 months ago, we played a clip of a conversation. It was a group of middle-class Black people. I believe it was in the year 1960. It was the early 60s. It was a discussion group where a group of Black middle-class professionals were getting together and saying, we want to leave this city because our kind is coming in here, and they are literally dragging the property rights down. They're bringing crime in here. And what was remarkable to me, Jade, was, with the exception of one man in this clip, and again, there's between 40 and 60 people in this room where this conversation is being filmed in the early 60s, not a single person in there spoke in a Black accent. Nobody was Xing people things, they wasn't saying like this. Right,
Listen, okay, I'm finna go in his house tonight. Okay, I'm finna go. Okay, yeah.
Okay, if you interrupt me again, I'm finna snatch your braids. Okay,
okay. My weave out, snatch my edges.
But what's remarkable?
It's real.
I know. What's remarkable to me is that modern Black people would look at those middle-class Black professionals from the early 60s and say they were acting white. No. Back in those days, that accent was not called a white accent. It was called an American middle class accent. It had nothing to do with skin color. Nobody was sitting around saying, it's white to pay your bills on time. It's white to pass your classes in high school. Maybe those sentiments were always there, but it's everywhere now, isn't it?
Well, I just need to correct one thing. They didn't feel like, when you said our kind is moving in, they did not feel any kinship with those people outside of skin color. Back in the day, like pre-Reconstruction and all of that stuff, before everybody got lumped in together, they did segregate themselves off of class. So even though, we have a saying that says skin folk or kin folk, and so even though they had similar melanin, they didn't see themselves as the same. And then you had groups like Jack and Jill, where you had the upper middle class Black people who were educated and who had values over here. And then you had what I'm going to call it them, the slave class, which is who you saw in that video over there. And I am one of those people looking to bring that back, because I'll be damned if I suffer the consequences of that behavior in my life, because I've done everything to not live that way. I don't live that way. That girl in that video doesn't represent me at all, so I don't think we should get lumped into the same color, like the same group. White people know how to separate themselves from the dregs of their community. Asians know how to do that. It's only us that elevate the worst of our kind, like George Floyd or something like that. It's only us that does that. Everybody else knows how to separate from the people who are holding them back.
Yeah, I think you're largely right on that. The only quibble I'd have is the gays don't do a very good job of that. There are some of them objecting, but they love to elevate the trash too, the trans and the queer and the this, that, and the other thing. We've got another video here, and I think this is going to show us some college students talking on the street having to do with BLM stuff. So can we roll that, Kevin?
Got what he deserved. I want you to back that up.
Yeah, because he was not.
It's purely.
He never advocated for violence.
No. How many cities burned after Charlie was assassinated? How many violent things happened? If he was actually
Black students were lynched on campus. Violent things happened after he died. Yeah, don't look like you're
Black students were lynched on a campus.
Yeah, there were people hung from trees on campuses. So maybe read the news.
Why would anyone lynch a Black person on a campus for for shooting Charlie. It was a white person who shot Charlie.
That's such a good question. No, and that's such a good question.
And that's wrong. First of all, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen?
It did not happen. Just like how Charlie wasn't a Nazi. Just like how Charlie didn't advocate for violence. But lynching human beings is wrong. And that's the whole point of the pro-life movement, is that all human beings have unique value and right to life. They're all valuable. So lynching humans for any reason and at any time period of our human history has always been wrong. Even though it was allowed in many of our states, it's always been wrong. Because our legality does not make our morality.
No, I agree.
It's unbelievable how many times we see the same kind of thing. These students, these leftists, citing their counterpoint, and it turns out that it's a complete fake hoax being pushed by the online left-wing misinformation artists. Multiple students have been lynched since Charlie Kirk's...
It is incredible. I mean, Jay, do you think that girl that we're seeing here on the screen, does she literally believe that people were lynched after Charlie Kirk was assassinated?
She does, and it's not entirely her fault. Just to give some context, this is about a young man named Trey Reed who was found hung on campus. It was the same week as a white homeless man was found hung on campus, okay? And so
when
because it happened
when you say hung or hanged, I'm sorry to jump in. Are you saying that somebody did that to them or that they committed suicide by hanging themselves?
Okay, so that's where I was going to get to. The first autopsy they did on the young black man shows that it was most likely not foul play, but it was most likely suicide. So, of course, Colin Kaepernick, tragic mulatto, jumped in and said, I'm going to pay for an independent autopsy, okay? And so they're looking for something. This has to be a white person who did it. Has to be. So they can use this. Now, the fact that they're trying to pin it to Charlie Kirk makes little sense because, number one, the suspected killer of Charlie Kirk is white. Okay?
Right.
So, I think that's an admission of guilt because there were so many black people who were celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination and dancing on his grave. It's like they're telling on themselves. It's like they know they did wrong. So, of course, a white person would want to get revenge on them. But so far, it looks like both men, there was no foul play. I mean, we have to see what comes out of it. But, I mean, the fact that they need it to be a racist white person so badly, and no matter what, the pro-life advocate, Kristen, and I forget her last name, it escapes my head. She literally said, we're never going to condone people lynching black people. You can't win for losing. She told the girl the truth. We don't advocate for that, but she still needs to make the white woman the enemy. She has to find a way to make her an enemy. You see how she was scrolling through her phone? She can't find any evidence of the white guy doing it.
You could see how I could see how emotionally activated that girl was. I mean, she was shaking while she was on her phone. She was probably a combination of angry, anxiety-ridden, didn't know what to do, caught off guard, all this sort of stuff. But these kids are not connected to reality. Just the fact that somebody could tell her that, some white people lynched some black people after Charlie Kirk. Just the fact that was believable to her, and it was believable. She believed it, right?
Yep.
There's something very, very wrong here. That's not believable. I'm sorry. I realize there's almost no chance that anyone watching this right now is in this class of people that I'd be speaking to. But if you are one of these people, this should not be believable to you. Do you have any idea how thoroughly you've been lied to about reality? It's really bad.
No, they don't. They don't. And this is when I spoke about generational trauma and my Carrie Lake presser, this is what I'm talking about. I was born in 1980. I should not have gotten the same speech that my mother got and that her mother got and that her mother got. We're being told the same things. Be afraid of cops, be afraid of white people. They hate you. They all think you're the N-word.
Did you hear that at home? Were you told that at home?
Yes, of course. Of course.
Was it your mom?
Yes, predominantly it was my mom. But, it was also other relatives too that were just really, racially like sensitive to everything, and even telling me that I was, light skinned. So I had to have some type of like, guilt about that because there's a privilege in being light skinned, It's crazy. They tell these kids these things, and so they trauma bond, they gaslight. It's the same thing that happens in the narcissistic one-on-one relationship is what's happening at a macro level in the Black community. So you have Black kids who were born in like 1998, or 2005, that they have nothing. They don't know anything. They've never been through any, quote, systemic racism, Jim Crow, redlining. They've never been through any of that. And then they personalize it and they own it as if it was them. That is a mental and a spiritual issue.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got just a couple more minutes here, so we're actually going to we're not going to do any more clips today. We're going to save some. You and I are going to have an audio-only conversation real soon where we can get into this in a more a fulsome way. But there's one thing I'd like to ask you before we close the conversation tonight. You said to me when we were talking the other day, you were talking about the difference between what white people think that Black people think about them and what Black people actually think about white people. So I'm going to ask you, and I'm asking you to make a generalization. Everybody, audience members, insert all your own not alls. But when no white people are around and Black people are just talking to each other, what do they say about white people? What do they think of white people?
They truly and really think that y'all are out to get them and that you hate them and that they must defend themselves against you all of the time. I think that's insane. Most white people I know are just looking to pay their bills. They're not even thinking about Black people that much, to be honest with you. This is 2025. A lot of people are struggling with different things. And the last thing they want to do is just like plot to ruin a Black person. But they really believe that. And they really believe they're in a constant state of war with y'all. And it's sad. This was definitely communist Marxist indoctrination, which is something that Josh and I want to get into in the long form. It's this constant brewing of chaos narratives, and they've done a really good job, especially, when you think about the indoctrination that a lot of so-called Black churches and pastors have done, the Democratic Party, the media, the rap songs, everything is fight the white man hates us. And they really believe that despite their actual experiences.
That's what's so hard to understand. I mean, we're not going to find an answer to it, but it's really hard to understand how these young people can apparently genuinely believe this when they have not experienced that. We know they haven't. They're not getting beat up by white people. Nobody's yelling nigger at them on the street. White people aren't doing that. This has literally never happened to them. And yet they seem to genuinely believe that it has. It's this extraordinary disconnect. But we're going to save this.
I just have to say really quickly, Josh, I'm sorry, I just have to jump in. Even if it has happened to you once or twice socially, why is that going to stop you from achieving what you want in your life? Why is that going to make you feel bad about yourself? Some ignorant person trying to get your goat. Why would you allow them to, why would you internalize that? Do you really believe that about yourself? Because you shouldn't. So even if one time socially someone said that to you, get over it, move on.
Right. Well, well said. Well said. And I remember carrying around a bunch of disproportionately large resentments about alleged homophobia when I was younger too, when really it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. Jade,
it's a psyop.
This is great. Yeah, it is. It's a psyop. This is great. I can't wait to talk to you in a few days so we can get into this. We're going to have a little bit more of a casual setup. We're going to chill out with our cup of coffee and talk for a little bit longer. But in the meantime, as an appetizer, where can people find you and any work you do online, whether it's video, commentary, written pieces? Where can they find you?
I haven't done that quite yet, but I'm in the process of moving, and it's going to be on the horizon. But right now, I'm just on X. It's Asia Marie 80. So that's just where I go occasionally. But to be continued. A platform is coming because it's about time. So
yes, Lord, it is. Jade, thank you so much. It's great to reconnect with you. Audience, this has been your appetizer. Look for our audio coming up real soon. Jade, thanks for joining us on Disaffected.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, everybody. Pardon me. Come back and finish out the show with some Moquerie. Welcome back. This episode of Disaffected has been brought to you by you and BiltongUSA.com, our sponsor and purveyor of the finest South African style, high quality sliced vinegar and spice cured meat that is absolutely delicious. You've got Angus, you've got Wagyu, you've got kangaroo, you've got venison. It comes in all different levels of heat and spice. The stuff is wonderful. It's great for you. It is part of, I eat it every single day. That is also why I am stalked doing the show sometimes in this home studio by cats, because they can smell quality too. You don't think I had ghetto cats, do you? Go to BiltongUSA.com. Check out their selection. Don't forget to look over their merchandise, which includes nice European imported groceries. So if you're a transplant, you want to taste a home, you can get that there too. And don't forget to use promo code JOSH to get 10% off your order. All right. You guys, you know what time it is? That's right. It is time once again for Pope-Pourri du Moquerie. The portion is the show where we roast everyone, whether or not we have the graphics on the screen. Allons-y. Let's start out with papal icecapade news. We've got Pope Leo, real name Robert Francis Prevost of Chicago, and he's got that nasty Chicago accent too. Preening around at a climate justice conference, blessing a miniature iceberg. It's going to be silent for about 10 seconds, so you're not getting dead air. This is very solemn, you see. You have to touch the ice, be one with the ice. Empathize with the ice. Okay. Stone cold. I think we're getting to the blessings.
Lord of life, bless this water. May it awaken our hearts, cleanse our indifference, soothe our grief, and renew our hope. Through Christ our Lord.
Bless this water. He's just so weird. Psst, Father, you're a great big pussy. And you're a Marxist too. This motherfucker was out this week asked by a reporter if he had anything to say about the fact that his archbishop in Chicago is giving a Lifetime Achievement Award to 40-year Senator Democrat Dick Durbin, who's very pro-abortion. And Pope Leo turns around and basically does a snotty high school girl reversal on the reporter and says, well, he doesn't think it's a very good, he doesn't, what was it he said? Something about the, he deflected, and then he talked about I don't know if it's a good thing to celebrate the inhuman treatment of migrants. That's the word he used, inhuman. So our treatment of migrants, that is illegal aliens, is, according to the Pope, inhuman. Having a border, having walls in your house is inhuman. All right. Representative Teresa Fernandez of New Mexico, speaking of ICE, completely melted down this week because the Trump administration is trolling everybody with memes of Democrats. So the Trump account, or was it the White House account, one of them, put up an AI faked cartoon meme depicting House Leader Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero standing next to Chuck Schumer, Senator Chuck Schumer, with AI dialogue. Here's that little piece.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
So New Mexico Senator, I'm sorry, not Hernandez, Fernandez. See how racist I am? This is what she had to say about it.
That's right. And then what does that shameful man do? After a meeting where you're supposed to be working out details, where you're supposed to be negotiating a deal, you post something that draws a sombrero and a mustache on the leader with whom you're supposed to be.
So I had something to say about it on Twitter.
In a sombrero, a sombrero.
I told you, every time I do a Hispanic accent, it's chado. And that is why you want to follow our account at DisaffectedPod on X for that bullshit and so much more. All right, this one's great. Let's put the tweet up first from Colin Rugg. New, a woman gets out of her car without putting it into park to yell at ICE agents making an arrest, and her car rolls into the lake and sinks. We've got the video. It's only 11 seconds, but check Karen out.
That sucks. Look at this, Lucy. Her car got lost.
Wah, wah. She's not going to make it to Jack in Box in time. Jack in the Box. Okay, in more female news, I've got all these ICE jokes today. This woman's melting down too. Let's roll her.
I gotta say that there is a special place in hell for, it's always old white men that like yell at you while you're trying to parallel park in Manhattan. And I'm a new driver. I really hate parallel parking in the city, and it's always scary, and I always like force myself to do it because I know I need to learn. And it's been a month since I started driving lessons, and normally I feel like I handle it quite well, but today I had a hard day at school and it just broke me. And I'm making this video because I know it's frustrating when you're a good driver and there's someone in front of you who's like struggling. But why be so mean? Like, you don't know their story. I learned at 29, like struggling a bit, but I'm driving in Manhattan and I'm trying my best, and it just really broke me today. So I think we need a little bit more kindness on the internet and on the roads. And hopefully this will, like, I don't know, prevent you from yelling at the person who's just trying to park.
Bitch, you're in Manhattan. Everybody gets yelled at for everything in Manhattan. And, you know, nobody has time for your incompetence. Nobody. We don't need more kindness on the internet. We need more competent drivers on the road. So snap to it. God. All right. This is a very short little segment I have titled Mock the British. I was going to tell him beforehand, but I'll just make it a surprise. Jack Buckby, I'm making fun of you. Jack Buckby is my friend, former colleague, sometime boss. And so because he's my friend, I forgive the fact that he's an Englishman. It's a real disability, how they do food. I present to you something that allegedly called the Wigan Kebab, named after some town in Manchester. So this is what Jack puts up on Twitter. Look at that shit. It's a pie. It's a meat pie with a pastry crust with I think they call them mushy peas with like mashed peas on top, and they're pouring gravy on top of that. I mean, what is it with British people and like any sauce? They're like, just make sure it's brown, mate. Give me some brown. Look at this. So you got hot carb on carb action, and can you imagine going to a place and saying, "Yeah, I'll have meat and gravy inside a pastry crust. So I'll have a meat and gravy pie, and I want you to take that pie and put it on top of a buttered bread roll, and then put some peas on it and some brown stuff. And give me some sauce, just make sure it's brown." You know what, Brits? That is why you look the way you do. And this is how you look. It's all that carb on carb action gives you the nasty teeth. And really, as somebody else observed, you limey fucks are eating like you're still on ration cards from 1944. That is the only reason to make bread sandwiches or bean sandwiches or potato. I made a joke to Jack. I was like, what are you going to do next? Put potatoes on bread? Oh, yes. That's called a crisp buddy. Excuse me? It is not 1944. Churchill is not your prime minister. The Blitz is already over. There are no children who are being shipped to the countryside on the LNER rail, although frankly they should be. You don't have any red call boxes in London, and women don't call them nylons anymore. My British cousins, stop all this nonsense. You've gone barmy. We're going to need to stage, well, another intervention. And this time we've got airplanes. All right. You cast your mind back into the way back pastimes of earlier in the show where we talked about bad statuary. Kevin, bring back Trisomy Tina and put her on the screen with me. All right. Audience, I submit to you that as shitty as my Tina Turner impression is, that it is more accurate than that statue is. Kevin, play my music.
You know, every now and then, I think you might like to hear something from us nice and easy. But there's just one thing. You will see we never, ever do nothing nice and easy. We always do it nice and rough. But we're going to take the beginning of the song and do it easy. And then we're going to do the finish. Rough. That's the way we do. Proud Mary.
Good night.
Rolling, rolling on the river. One more again. Say we're rolling, 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 rolling on the river. Listen. I left a good job in the city, working for the man every night and day.